Friends, good day. Today, uh, we will talk about the book written by George Orwell. And one of my previous lecture also, I had told you about the novel of the George Orwell, the famous novel Animal Farms. So today we are going to discuss about is another novel, 1984, the name of which is 1984 by George Orwell. So this is the story of George. This 1984 novel start like Winston Smith is a low-ranking member of the ruling party in London, in the nation of Oceania. Everywhere Winston goes, even his own home, the party watches him through telescreen. Everywhere he looks, he seems the face of party, seemingly omniscient leader, a figure known only as a big brother. The party controls everything in Oceania, even the people's history and language. Currently, the party is forcing the implementation of an invented language called Newspeak, which attempts to prevent political rebellion by eliminating all words related to it. Even thinking rebellious thought is illegal. Such thought crime is, in fact, the worst of all crimes. As the novel opens, Winston feels frustrated by the operation and rigid control of the party, which prohibits the free thought, sex, and any expression of individuality. Winston disliked the party and has illegally purchased a diary in which to write his criminal thoughts. He has also become fixated on a powerful party member named O'Brien, whom Winston believes is the secret member of the Brotherhood and the mysterious legendary group that works to overthrow the party. Winston works in the Ministry of Truth, where he alters historical records to fit the needs of the party. He notices a co-worker, a beautiful dark-haired girl, staring at him and worries that she is an informant who will turn him in for his thought crime. He is troubled by the party's control of history. The party claims that Oceania has always been allied with East Asia in a war against Eurasia, but Winston seems to recall a time when this was not true. The party also claims that Emanuel Goldstein, the alleged leader of the Brotherhood, is the most dangerous man alive. But this does not seem plausible to Winston. Winston spent his evening wandering through the poorest neighborhood in London, where the proletariat or proles live squalid life, relatively free of party's monitoring. One day, Winston received a note from a dark-haired girl that reads, "I love you." She tells him her name, Julia, and they begin a covert affair, always on the out for signs of party monitoring. Eventually, they rent a room above the second-hand store in the Prole district where Winston bought the diary. This relationship lasts for some time. Winston is sure that they will be caught and punished sooner or later. The fatalistic Winston knows that he has been doomed since he wrote his first diary entry, while Julia is more pragmatic and optimistic. As Winston's affair with Julia progresses, his hatred for the party grows more and more intense. At last, he receives the message that he has been waiting for. O'Brien wants to see him. Winston and Julia travel to O'Brien's luxurious apartment. As a member of the powerful inner party, Winston belonged to the outer party. O'Brien leads a life of a luxury that Winston can only imagine. O'Brien confirms to Winston and Julia that, like them, he hates the party. He says that he works against it as a member of Brotherhood. He indoctrinates Winston and Julia into the Brotherhood and gives Winston a copy of Emanuel Goldstein's book, The Manifesto of the Brotherhood. Winston reads the book, an amalgam of several forms of class-based 20th century social theory, to Julia in the room above the store. Suddenly, soldier barge in and sees them. Mr. Charrington, the proprietor of the store, is revealed as having been a member of thought police all along. Torn away from Julia and taken to a place called the Ministry of Love, Winston finds that O'Brien too is a party spy who simply pretended to be a member of Brotherhood in order to trap Winston into committing an open act of rebellion against the party. O'Brien spends months torturing and brainwashing Winston, who struggles to resist at last. O'Brien sends him to the dreaded room number 101, the final destination for everyone who opposes the party here. O'Brien tells Winston that he will be forced to control his worst fear. Throughout the novel, Winston has had recurring nightmare about rats. O'Brien now straps a cage full of rats onto Winston's head and prepares to allow the rat to eat his face. Winston snaps, pleading with O'Brien to do it to Julia, not to him. Giving up Julia is that O'Brien wanted from Winston all along. His spirit broken, Winston is released to the outside world. He meets Julia but no longer feels anything for her. He has accepted the party entirely and has learned to love Big Brother. So this is the story of the 1984 novel by by George Orwell, the famous author of the Animal Farm. The character involved in this novel is Winston Smith, a minor member of ruling party in a near future London. Winston Smith is a thin, frail, contemplative, intellectual, and fatalistic 39-year-old. Winston hates the totalitarian control and enforced repression and are characteristic of his government. He harbors revolutionary dreams. Julia, Winston's lover, a beautiful dark-haired girl working in the fiction department at the Ministry of the Truth. Julia enjoys sex and claims to have had an affair with many party members. Julia is pragmatic and optimistic. A rebellion against the party is small and personal. So, O'Brien, a mysterious, powerful, sophisticated member of inner party whom Winston believes is also a member of Brotherhood, the legendary group of anti-party rebels. Big Brother, though he never appears in the novel and though he may not actually exist, Big Brother perceived rulers of Oceania as an extremely important figure. Everywhere Winston looks, he sees poster of Big Brother face bearing the message, Big Brother is watching you. Big Brother image is stamped on coins and broadcast on the unavoidable telescreen. Mr. Charrington, an old man who runs a second store in a Prole district. Syme Parsons, an obnoxious adult party member, Emanuel Goldstein, another figure who exerts an influence on the novel without her appearing in it. According to the party, Goldstein is the legendary leader of the Brotherhood. So These are the characters of the book 1984. Let us see whether in this novel, 1984, written by George Orwell, what kind of theme we can find it, the theme of this novel. So the theme of this novel is, it is about totalitarian and a totalitarian state, a full controlled dictatorship of the party, even control on your thought, on your action, on your history, on your record, on your way of thinking. So this is the theme of this novel, 1984. Everywhere it was written, Big Brother is always watching you. Big Brother, a legendary and not known party leader. The thoughts of the people were controlled by this the party and through his propaganda machine. So this novel, 1984, also portrayed the extreme dictatorial regime which exists in the world during the Cold War, after the Cold, and during the Cold War, after the Second World War. So this is the theme of the novel 1984, written by George Orwell, was a well-known writer with a well-known, both these novels, 1984 and Animal Farm, had attained a unique position in political as well as literary history. Thank you very much for kind listening.